Hello, welcome to the Joe DeLisi Financial Advisor Podcast. I am Joe DeLisi. So, I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. You might have eaten a little bit too much, kind of like I did, but you probably had a good time, told funny stories, were around some people. You might have even talked to your friends and family about money, which is pretty normal. But this time of the year, I found that, I get a lot of emails from people saying, hey, I was talking to my cousin, or I was talking to my brother-in-law, or whatever. And, that's great. But what happens a lot of times is you get information in a vacuum. And if I could distill many of the comments or the emails or the questions down to one thing, I feel like, and this is just maybe anecdotal on my part, but I feel like people are generally concerned with uncertainty. Like, the stock market, everybody defaults to putting money in the stock market. You don't have to. You can put money in guaranteed products and in guaranteed accounts. You can do that. You can keep money in cash, notwithstanding inflation and, taxes and things of that nature. I mean, you can predict that. The uncertainty of the stock market is something I think a lot of people just discount until the uncertainty hits them. And the this time it's different, or this time is scary, or, I heard this, or I've seen that, and it just kind of rears its ugly head. And I got to tell you, the uncertainty of the market is what makes it beautiful. Now, that doesn't make any sense, but the title of this podcast is Uncertainty is Good. So let me start with a quote. Quote, a wave of new scientific discoveries reveals that learning to lean into uncertainty in times of rapid change is a promising antidote to mental distress, unquote. That's Maggie Jackson from How to Thrive in an Uncertain World, New York Times, January 13th of this year. Now, for many people, uncertainty is something to just completely avoid, right? Or at least mitigate. But what about all the positive things that uncertainty can bring? I mean, I was thinking about this. So I'm a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and in the past two games, we've played the Cleveland Browns, who we were supposed to beat. But in the course of a blizzard, we wound up losing to them. One of the worst teams in the league. We wound up losing to them. Then the flip side is we played the Cincinnati Bengals, who are a very good offensive team, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to go. And we scored collectively more points in that game than the Steelers have since 2018. Because of uncertainty, right? The surprises, the joy in watching sports is there. If we were certain about the outcome, there would be no fun in it. There'd be no joy in it. There'd be no 10% average annualized return on the stock market using the S&P 500 over the past century without uncertainty. So let me explain again that last one. If there was no uncertainty, returns in the market would be predictable, and there would be no difference between putting your money in a savings account or investing it in the stock market. Therefore, you wouldn't get those higher returns from the market. There would be no risk from the uncertainty. Therefore, there would be no premium to be paid for the risk you're willing to take. Now, look, we've all lived through years like 2022 when the market went down a lot, and years like 2023, and really this year when it went up a lot. And the potential risk makes it possible that the potential reward can be so high. So thank goodness for uncertainty. Now, people often talk about the downside to uncertainty. They talk about that a lot more than its upside. They do the same with volatility. People refer to volatility only in the negative, but volatility is just movement, right? So upside volatility is a thing as well. There's a term for the uncertainty avoidance. It's called loss aversion. And that reflects how a loss can feel more painful than the gain of an equal amount. And maybe that's why uncertainty is underrated, because of uncertainty, life is really, it's just one cost benefit analysis after another if you really think about it. And we have really no choice but to manage risk. At the extremes, some people may try to just completely ignore risk. Others try to eliminate it. Not that you could necessarily, but they try to. And then there's everyone else that sort of lives in the middle. We can't control the weather, but we can take an umbrella if it looks like it might rain. So we weigh the cost of carrying around an umbrella against the benefit of staying dry if it rains. I will tell you, I will never be caught dead with an umbrella. I don't like carrying the thing. My wife loves it. Now, I've been told it's because, guess what? Guys don't wear makeup. It never occurred to me that keeping the water off of you wasn't so much because of water, but for the makeup. So the risk, the downside for my wife is a lot higher, and therefore she carries the umbrella. I don't care about that. So I'm not going to worry about that. And so it's the same thing when we manage risk, like with our health. I mean, it's true really of health, work, family, really just about everything, including investing. Because while few things are certain, we still have to make these decisions, both big and small. And the better we manage risk, the better our lives are going to be. If you go back to the weather example, we might, at least my wife does, want to carry an umbrella only when we might need one. When it comes to investing, you can't manage stock market returns, but you can manage the risk you take. So how can investors get better at that, at managing risk? And it's something that we talk about a lot. If you sit in meetings with me one-on-one, we talk about what is risk? What is standard deviation? What does that term mean? How do you measure it? And what is the appropriate range of outcomes that you can deal with yourself? Now, we're not getting caught up in trying to predict the unpredictable. We don't speculate. We don't predict the future. We don't gamble. You've heard me say that many, many times. But one way of managing risk is to eliminate some of the things that you just shouldn't do. No matter how you look at health, there are just certain things that objectively research has shown are true for most people, like fried food, cigarettes, sugar. Those things don't promote health. We can say that, right? They don't promote health. And so avoiding those things will just increase your chance of a healthy outcome. It doesn't guarantee it, but it certainly increases it. And there are choices you can make to improve your chance of being a good investor as well. Don't get caught up in trying to, again, predict the unpredictable. That means not trying to time the market, not trying to pick winning stocks, not trying to track record invest. Honestly, sometimes it has to do with fees as well. People will just view it with tunnel vision on fees, right? There are other things to look at than just fees or trying to time things or when to get in and when to get out or which stock's going to be the winner. Look, there are positive ways of dealing with risk. Capturing the benefits of what scientific research has shown us, like with health, for instance. That means instead of consuming fried foods or cigarettes or sugar, maybe we should exercise more. Maybe we should eat more vegetables. Maybe we should get regular checkups or better sleep. There are things that are just, again, objectively true. In investing, that would be diversification. Diversification would allow us to reduce our risk while striving to actually capture the returns of the market. There's no guarantee there, but it will head us in the right direction. Because with investing, we've learned that risk is more predictable than the returns are. So you want to plan and find the amount of risk that is right for you. Again, we refer to that as standard deviation. What is the normal, the standard deviation or movement from whatever you expect? Again, this is something we can measure in your portfolio and give you ranges of outcomes that could occur. Each person's going to be different on this, by the way. Like regardless of what level of risk feels right, you should consider investing and being prepared for a wide range. And if you're prepared for it, then when that occurs, you'll be less likely to bail. The more you have a philosophy that you can count on and return to in times, we call that an investment policy statement. When you're experiencing those ups and downs of uncertainty, the more likely you are to succeed. And, I would say, more than you think you do about investing if you're a client of mine. When you're at these, family gatherings, investing is all about risk and reward. And so is really every other part of your life. As my client have a better insight as to what risk really is and what reward really is than the average bear, I would say. You've been managing risk and reward for as many years as you've been living. And with investing in life, some years are obviously better than others, but the important thing is to be able to stick around to see what happens next. You got to stay in it. And that's partly my job, and it's partly your job. That's why I see the uncertainty as a positive force, and I have faith in the ability of people to find better ways to manage risk. Instead of trying to predict your future, plan, adapt, and figure out the most sensible solutions for you. Don't worry about this time feeling different. Don't worry about what the brother-in-law or the cousin says. Don't worry about what that journalist wrote, who you don't even know who that is. Most of us have never even clicked on the person who wrote those articles that scare us so much. Look, with uncertainty, you make really just the best informed choices you can. You monitor the results. You make changes as necessary. That's what we do. We rebalance, we monitor, we do reviews. Accepting outcomes doesn't mean you don't try to shape them where you can or to take advantage of opportunities where they may present themselves. But you do your homework, you listen, you learn to make trade-offs between possible risk and reward. And the key really is to develop a philosophy. Define the goals, steer the balance sheet toward them, and we adjust along the way. You might not only be underestimating uncertainty, but you may be underestimating the positive impact of actually embracing it. Just like it's fun to sit down and watch the next Steeler game, hoping for a W. I have no idea what's going to happen. That's what makes it fun. Compliance. Registered representative, financial advisor, Park Avenue Securities, LLC. Pass. OSJ 5800, Carroll Canyon Road, Suite 300, San Diego, California, 92121, 619-684-6400. Securities products, advisory services offered through Pass. Member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representative, the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Pass is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Pass or Guardian. Insurance products offered through Westpac Wealth Partners and Insurance Services, LLC, a DBA of Westpac Wealth Partners, LLC, California Insurance License Number OD34103. This podcast is for informational purposes only, not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Pass, Guardian, Westpac Wealth, and opinions stated are their own. Guardian and subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk, may lose value. Diversification does not guarantee profit or protects against market loss. Equities may decline in value due to both real and perceived general market, economic, and industry conditions. This material is intended for general use. By providing the content, Park Avenue Securities LLC and a financial representative are not undertaking to provide investment advice or make a recommendation for a specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Indices are unmanaged, and one cannot invest directly in an index. 738-3329.1 expires 11/2026.